We need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly.
Good morning. It is 9:09 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch the show on YouTube and Rumble, and I suggest you do because we have a very special guest in studio, a man that is running for governor. Monty Fritts is back on the program. Hello, Monty. Welcome to the show. We are so excited to have you back in here to discuss the race. A lot of this audience is familiar with you, but I think that there's a lot of Tennesseans that are just now beginning to pay attention, and your name is popping up more and more and more, and a lot of people are wondering, who is Monty Fritts?
Yes.
So I think that that's probably the place to start. Let's throw out everything we've known and everything we've done before this point, and let's start the interview with just who you are. I mean, you've been a representative from East Tennessee. You're not a household name like Marsha Blackburn or John Rose, and a lot of people thought that would hurt you at the beginning, but it seems to be helping you now. So for people just paying attention, just beginning to watch the race, can you tell me in plain language why Monty Fritts is running for governor and why the other two aren't enough?
Yeah, I feel called to do this. I think I've told you before, out of frustration, I ran for state representative. I didn't like what Nashville was doing during COVID. I term limited myself to 2 terms, 4 years. I was completing that. I was happy to get away from politics. Don't really want to be in politics, but there's an old church phrase of God puts a burden on your heart. And sometimes it's that whisper, sometimes it's that nudge, sometimes it's those people that come to you and say, hey, I had a dream about you, or God spoke to me about you. And being a Southern Baptist, I got to tell you, that's a weird thing when that first happens. For me, it was. But I really fought that for a long time. I prayed about it a long time. I was afraid to tell my wife. We were happy to get out of politics, but then we started praying together about it, and it's just become confirmed to me. God's calling me to run. Now, for those naysayers out there, that doesn't mean I think God's going to miracle my old self into the office. We're working. But I'm going to be obedient to the calling, and we're going to talk about liberty and less government and uplift the name of Jesus as we go.
I mean, to that point, your fundraising numbers are a fraction of what your opponents are.
Yes, sir.
And because of that, you've had to run a different kind of campaign. So why have you chosen the hard path of grassroots over the money path? And do you believe that this is a strategy that can actually win in August?
I do think. I think we will win in August. And I think that people are sick of paid-for politicians. I think they're sick of people who do fundraisers outside the state. I think they're sick of big pharmaceutical companies and perhaps foreign influence PACs giving their Tennessee candidates money. I think that there's a great suspicion that influences the votes, and I think that's why many Tennesseans from our West Coast to the Smokies think that some of these career D.C. politicians don't even consider what's good for the average blue-collar Tennessean, the working class.
Do you have specific reasons why you think the current Republican power structure in Tennessee has failed regular people?
I do. I think there's an elitist mentality. There is an us versus them. I hear that sometimes in circles and meetings, the actual words of us versus them. And while it's not often a versus in adversarial manners, it's the two different groups. It's we and they. And I think we've allowed politics to become something that is celebrity focused or money driven. The fundraising is obscene. When we're spending $10 million or $7 million in the last 3 months, there's something wrong with that. The average Tennessean, I told someone the other day, they asked me for $1,000 to come to some thing. And I said, I don't go to things average Tennesseans can't afford. And, the average Tennessean can't pay $1,000 for a rubber chicken dinner to go listen to somebody speak. And they're repulsed that politicians are doing that. And, so I think it is very winnable. I think speaking about things that others will not speak about, taking firm stance. Even I have lots of people say to me, I disagree with you in your position on this or that, but I appreciate that. I don't have to wonder what you're thinking.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal. One of the ways that you could get your name out would be debates. You've repeatedly called for debates. Blackburn has largely refused. Rose has conditioned his participation on Blackburn showing up. Yeah. With the primary, 3 weeks away, why do you think the two frontrunners are so unwilling to stand on a stage with you? And what do you think that tells voters about them?
I think the elitist mentality for whomever is advising Senator Blackburn is that you can just hide in the basement and win. I think they're going to be shocked by what's going to happen on Election Day. I think with Congressman Rose, who I've really grown to like, he and his family, but I think he's going to look back on this I'll debate anybody anytime phrase, and then 2 hours later reneging on that and pulling out of this debate that Channel 5 was going to do here in Middle Tennessee. I think he's going to look back at that as the day that really cost him any chance of winning the election. People see that as weak and frail and fragile. I've heard all those words. If the phone rings at 3 a.m. in the morning or 3 p.m. in the afternoon, who do you want answering that phone as governor? Do you want the person who's off fundraising in Mississippi when they should be talking to Tennesseans every day? Or do you want the person who's afraid to be on the stage at the same time with this simple country boy from Kingston, which was the case at the East Tennessee Republicans? There was a condition of, no debate and didn't really want to be on the stage at the same time. Do you want those people answering the phone? Are they going to have to then, John has conditioned his debate on whether Marcia debates. Does that mean if he's the governor, he's got to call her and ask her what to do when that phone rings? I don't know. The whole hiding behind the skirt tails is not a good look. And, I'm willing to confront things.
If voters don't get that side-by-side debate, which, for all intents and purposes, it looks like that's kind of gone with the wind now at this point, how do you think the voters are supposed to really judge the difference between the three of you?
Well, I think that there's going to be an effort by the others to use either the Fox News and, just the whole name recognition for Senator Blackburn, and I appreciate her long service. Some might argue too long, but long service, there's a great sacrifice in that, Chris. I appreciate that. I think folks are going to see $7 million in mailers and stuff coming out of Pittsburgh and Miami for the Rose Camp, trying to suggest and pretend to be maybe something that they're not, with a meaningless message, unwilling to talk about some of the things that are most pressing on the minds of your average working class Tennessean. And I think they hear that straightforward from me. We've done a pretty good job in social media. We keep the roads pretty hot. My day always looks like a microphone in the windshield. So we're going to work it as hard as we can. Trust the Lord. Trust that folks are indeed frustrated with politics. And I will tell you, Chris, I think the 7th of August will be a day of recognizing that Almighty God is still able to do miracles, because it will be a miracle to win this based on all. This is a David versus Goliath, and Goliath is neither of the other candidates. Goliath is a system that thinks that they get to pick who your next representative is.
And one of the reasons why it is David versus Goliath is you've put yourself at a significant disadvantage here. You've publicly said that you're not going to take PAC money from Big Pharma, Big Ag, APAC. Yeah. Have you taken any PAC money in this race? And if so, who's it from and where's the line that you won't cross?
Yeah, I think two checks at this point in time. One from Tennessee Firearms Association, about $15,000. I'm a big Second Amendment supporter. I think that John Harris is a constitutionalist and wants to stand up for all our rights. They focus on Second Amendment rights. And then a Liberty group there in Knox County for a dinner they did back in Christmas, and they're listed as a PAC. But that's it, I think. I haven't had anything else come in. I wouldn't take some of these globalist-type organizations that, and maybe they're American corporations, but they don't have the worldview of standing up for the American worker. The same people that want to recruit H-1B visa workers to replace young college engineers that have grown up in Tennessee, their mindset's different than mine. Those people that align with the World Economic Forum or those people who align with the Bill Gates of the world, they can keep their money. I don't need it. My father owns the cattle of 1,000 hills, and he has kept the clay jars full of oil, just to put that in a scriptural term. And so I don't need their money. I think that many of these people want to have conditions. We had, I guess our average donation been $100, $200 maybe, and we get $10 donations. And I know, brother, that some of these people that are sending me $10, they could use that for bread or milk.
Yep.
It breaks my heart. It brings me to tears sometimes. The letters I get with these, we're depending on you. Thank you for running. It gives me chills to think about it, that some little old lady who's struggling to get by sent me $25. And I think there's a desperation. I think there's I don't think I'm the best candidate in the world ever. I think I'm running against two really weak candidates, to be honest with you, candidates that don't have really good positions on things for the average working class Tennessean. And I think that puts me at an advantage. I'll be shocked if we don't win. I think we might win significantly.
Well, Blackburn and Rose have both accepted significant institutional and corporate-linked money. Do you think that changes a candidate and how they'll govern if they're elected?
Absolutely, and you see it in the folks, the political class that they run with, and the fact that Congressman Rose is paying a significant amount each month to be advised on how to run his campaign. I know that's common in politics, Chris, and I'm not bashing on all the people that have campaign managers. I know that's an industry, and I'm in a great position where I don't have to do that. But really, do you want someone as your chief executive who can't run their campaign? That they have to hire somebody to do it? What will we do for the 7 million people in Tennessee if that person's elected? It's not just that 3 a.m. phone call I talked about. It's just day-to-day business.
Right.
Who's advising them? And I'd much rather be hearing the voices of the electrician up in Knoxville I met with last week, a group of electricians, or the concrete finishers in West Tennessee, the young engineering students. I met with a group of 18-year-old first-time voters in Ray County the other day. A young man had invited me down to Ray County to a high school graduation. I didn't know the young man, but that's a great honor, right?
Yeah.
And so I go down, and it shocked me as they're coming off the stage after they've got their diploma and they're proceeding out. We're sitting on the 50-yard line at Ray County High School, not one of my counties I represent, just south of Rome. And the young people start waving. They said, "That's Monty Fritts." Hey, and they're coming. They and their families want their photographs made, which is humbling to the point that I don't know what to do with it sometimes, but it's the social media thing. And there's a hunger in that younger generation, not just the 18, 19-year-old young voters, but their BS-ometers are pegged out.
Yep.
They're hitting on the red part of that BS-ometer scale because they look at what these politicians have promised, and they see that while they have taken money from all these organizations, they have sent our federal dollars. We're $39 trillion in debt. We're $1.8 trillion annually in deficit. We're sending money to at a federal level, we're sending money to 140, 150 countries routinely. We've got homeless veterans in Shelby County and Knox County that have to get under a bridge to get their head out of the rain. Average Tennessean's ticked about that. Well, they voted to fund hush funds because of the improprieties. The people that have us $39 trillion in debt, they can't fix what I think is a bit of out-of-control fiscal behavior in the state of Tennessee. We're going to need a real fiscal conservative.
We're talking with Monty Fritts. He is running for governor of Tennessee. The primary is on August 6th. Early voting begins July 17th. So one of the big differentiators, because you look at the three of you guys, everybody's conservative. Everybody, has a similar message. But one of the things that stood out with you is that you are pro-medical marijuana. And I've had all three of you guys on this show, Rose, Blackburn, and yourself. And I've asked everybody a similar question. If it got to your desk, if it went through the state legislature, if it was put up to a vote and it was approved, do you sign that bill or do you veto it? Yeah. Both Rose and Blackburn have said that they would veto it. You've said that you are in support of it for veterans, cancer patients, epileptics, while opposing recreational use and big pharma control. So be specific on, would you sign a medical cannabis bill if it reached your desk? And what are the red lines that you kind of have drawn in the sand?
Yes, if it meets certain conditions. We must keep big pharmaceutical companies out of this. I think the great advantage to medical marijuana is a natural source, right? Because so many of our veterans, so many of our epileptics, so many people are suffering with pain. They're reliant on some synthetic form that oftentimes they're hooked on for life. We need to avoid that. I think that we have to stay in the natural form rather than the synthetic, because law enforcement tells me that some of the stuff on the street today, the THC values are so high that it's dangerous, right? And so I think we have to do that. I think keeping the pothead lobby out is part of it, because there is, just like there's a pharmaceutical lobby that don't care what happens to your health so long as they can make enough money and feed enough money back to these politicians. There's also a pothead lobby that wants to do that and keep people stoned. That can't be the objective. And then the third part, the third red line, if you will, and why I want to put together a commission, a study group, or whatever to help get that together. And I know there are some folks in the General Assembly that have tried a bill before. I know Senator Boland has tried in the past. Maybe a little more complex bill than what it needs to be. But I think getting that government hook out of it that just wants to say this is bad, 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 but if you'll pay enough taxes on it, we'll give you access to it. Because we do that with lots of things.
Yep.
And so I think those are my three big conditions going in. And let's pull doctors and veterans and folks that are suffering from everything from just pain to epilepsy to, back problems, whatever the case may be, depression. Let's get them in a room and let's figure out what a policy looks like. Let's offer that. And then rather than just react to something that hits the desk, let's have a little input. I've told you before, I'm not an administrative bill person. I think that what we're doing now, 65, 70 administration bills rather, in a year is an unconstitutional thing. But the Constitution does give us the ability to make suggestions from time to time. So we're going to pull this group of people together and make those suggestions.
Monty Fritts is running for governor of Tennessee. Early voting July 17th. The primary August 6th. You got some time to hang out, right? Because I got some more questions. I want to talk about flock cameras. I want to talk about the school vouchers and more. Monty Fritts is going to hang out with us. It's 9:26. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, this is Pastor Allen. Join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
$10 was $10 was
Good morning, 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The U.S. military hit Iran hard this morning. Here's NBC's Keir Simmons.
U.S. Central Command says it has launched a new wave of strikes as of 6 a.m. Eastern this morning. This is the language CENTCOM is using. The strikes are designed to further degrade military capabilities Iranian forces have used to attack commercial shipping. Craig, Axios now reporting, citing three sources with knowledge that President Trump held a Situation Room meeting Tuesday to consider a major new offensive against Iran. And in an interview, President Trump threatening to target Iranian civilian infrastructure, including energy targets, unless Iran agrees to negotiate.
Iran claims more than 30 people killed in today's actions. President Trump officially overturning an internal DHS memo that blocked ICE from carrying out vehicle stops targeting illegal immigrants. That pause was initiated after two shootings where ICE agents feared for their lives or the public's safety. Tennessee set to execute a man convicted of raping and murdering a motel maid in Kingston Springs in 1985. Anthony Hines' lawyers are trying to get the execution delayed. They say he is in ill health. News 2's Kelly Milan reports the family of Catherine Jenkins is tired of waiting.
In court filings and letters, Hines' attorneys describe him as extremely frail. They say he has suffered strokes, is blind in his left eye, and cannot walk. But for Melissa Jenkins, none of that changes what happened to her mother or the fact that her family has waited 4 decades for the sentence to be carried out.
The criminal gets all of the focus because, they're the one that's still alive and walking around. Everybody forgets about the victim and they forget about the victim's family.
Now, unless a court or Governor Lee intervenes, Tennessee is scheduled to carry out that execution at 10 a.m. on August 13th. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
$10 was $10 was $10 was
36 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen on all the apps, iHeartRadio, TuneIn. We're live on the FM dial. We're also on YouTube and Rumble. And if you missed this conversation that we're having with Monty Fritts, you missed the first half, will be podcasted on Spotify and Apple, the second half as well. I think it's important to point out, Every gubernatorial candidate is welcome on this program to answer every question that I have been presenting to Monty Fritts. I don't change the questions. I'm open to conversation. So everybody has an open invite. But Monty has accepted the invite. I texted John Rose yesterday waiting to hear back to see if he would be willing to come on and just talk about the race. Monty has been very gracious with his time, despite the fact that, where are you? You're everywhere today. After this, you go to Waynesboro?
Waynesboro, yes, sir. And I've got a radio interview down there, and I've got a lunch with some folks. Then we've got a big fish fry down in Counts tonight. I like going to that part of the state. I love that part of West Tennessee. But it is a long drive.
Well, in Middle Tennessee, I'm seeing a lot more of your signs. And I was wondering, am I in a Middle Tennessee bubble? Because I feel like there's a lot more energy and a lot more steam behind you in Middle Tennessee. What's the reception been like in Eastern and in Western Tennessee?
Really good. I think the liberty and less government message is what's really being embraced. I think just an old donkey could speak that message with compassion and conviction, and I think people would follow it. I think it's much less about me than it is the message. I think part of what is hurting Congressman Rose and Senator Blackburn, they don't have any passion. It's kind of a dry, monotone kind of thing, and I think that's the case because they've become so reliant on people advising them what to say, unless they have the little ear mic in and somebody tell them what to say, and there's a rumor that happens sometimes. Then there's just no energy, no passion. The Blackburn campaign, for a while, was sending this little guy around to film me. It was kind of like game film, I guess. And so I called him out a couple of times in a friendly way with a smile on my face. I'd ask everybody to stand up and turn around because he'd hide his camera in like his sport coat and stuff. And it was kind of weird, kind of freaky. And so I'd ask everybody to stand up and turn around and say hello to Marcia. And so we've had a little fun. You got to have fun with it. And I say
savage.
No, I'm just, you got to have a sense of humor about this. This is serious stuff.
Yeah.
And if you just dwell on the serious all the time, it will make you cry.
All right. Well, let's get serious. Your message is liberty and less government.
Yes.
We have seen, at least I believe, it's a disturbing trend when it comes to the flock cameras.
Yes, sir.
And they're popping up all over the state. They're telling us that they're flock safety cameras, other automated license plate reader systems. They're spreading all over the state, all over the country, very, very fast. From a constitutional and a liberty standpoint, do you support or do you oppose these systems? And would you use the power of the office of the governor to restrict or expand them?
I oppose any unwarranted surveillance of Tennesseans, period, including the automatic license plate readers or the flock. I think that's a gross constitutional violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. I think that these companies have sold this to local governments often, it's for safety, right? Meanwhile, the three of us in this room, we've done nothing to be, to have a warrant on us for, and we're tracking all of our movement at the very minimum on those cars. And then with facial recognition and everything coming, it's going to get worse. This is a first step. We've got to push back on this, and I'll do everything within my powers, my constitutional powers, as the governor of the state of Tennessee to stop that in Tennessee.
So how do you balance that as a law enforcement tool and then the reality of the persistent tracking of everyday citizens? And are we too far gone down this road, do you think?
I don't think we're too far gone. I think we're a difficult point down the road gone at this point in time. I think the other part of this, other than, I'll touch on the law enforcement part of it in just a moment, but our Constitution in the Declaration of Rights in Tennessee says that perpetuities and monopolies are not good for the existence of a free state and shall not be permitted. So we have problems with that in a couple areas. I think there's a monopolistic impact on these because you have a company come in and cut a deal with a city or of Nashville or Shelby County or Roane County or Kingston City or whatever, and they're gathering data that they're monetizing, and it becomes a monopoly problem, and it's a monopoly in concert with government, which makes it even worse. So aside from the Fourth Amendment issue, I think there's also that question. There's the guardrail guy who I've gotten to know. I think he does a lot of good work on things. He's questioning now, have we rated these cameras for impact resistance? Or are we, because we're in such a fervor to put cameras up everywhere, creating these projectiles and crashes? And I think that's something that has to be evaluated. So there's several concerns with it, but primarily the Fourth Amendment. I do think they can be a tool for law enforcement, but our Constitution always leans into a bias of favor to the rights of the individual. We must protect that. In our Declaration of Independence, where it says that we have been endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The next words, I think, are really that anchor for what I'm talking about in our Constitution, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. So our first responsibility, whether it's your county commissioner, whether it's your state representative, whether it's your congressman or your governor, is to secure your rights. I think everything else is secondary or tertiary to that. And so I think we have to keep that simple and plain and black and white, else we find ourselves going down roads. You know, we had the FISA stuff that many in Congress and the Senate had voted for, and we're surveilling U.S. citizens. Now that become a problem when we're surveilling the senators that, you know, and it is a problem for me. I don't think that should happen, period.
Right.
But how about your average working class Tennessean? It shouldn't just be the senator that has a gripe. It should be every Tennessean that they fall into that. And I'm all for, you know, the folks that have come here to destroy America. I have no tolerance for that. I'm hard on the illegal, and I intend to be even harder, much harder than what we have been in the state of Tennessee on the illegal aliens in this state. I want to make this the least habitable place for illegal aliens in the entire country. But we citizens, that we the people is an exclusive term. And when we think that we can just gather your data and information and use it, and we start down that path, we find ourselves in a surveillance state, perhaps at some point in time equipped by these huge hyperscale data centers where every word, every movement, and every expenditure is monitored. We must not allow that to happen.
Monty Fritts is in studio. Early voting for the gubernatorial race begins July 17th. The primary is August 6th. In a state like Tennessee, I think that the primary for the Republican candidates is essentially the general election. Let's talk some liberty questions. You were one of the few House Republicans to vote against the school voucher program. Yes. You have said that you would suspend it or end it entirely.
Yes.
So in a party that has largely embraced the school choice attitude, can you explain why you dislike the current voucher system and why you believe it's unconstitutional?
Article 11, Section 12, that's 3 sentences. The first one talks about the inherent value of education. The second sentence in Article 11, Section 12 says the General Assembly shall provide for the maintenance, support, and eligibility standards for a system of free public schools. I think that's a specific and restrictive statement that does not allow us to spend public funds on private schools. I think that God made all of us parents free, and grandparents, and Denise and I's case, to make those decisions for our children. But first, constitutional. Secondly, what we did was fiscally irresponsible. I do intend to end this. And I'm going to have to borrow your car, I think, Chris, after we do that, because I think my white Dodge truck or my black Ford truck are going to get egged by the 35,000 families that are getting, or some of them. But with much compassion, I offer to those folks, we must remain within our constitutional bounds. And I think there was a little bit of a, we can incentivize behaviors rather than demand excellence. And I think we have to get to that. I think we've done some really good things. I think the speaker and others that are of a different position on me than the vouchers have done some good things in schools. Difficult decisions, like what we did with Shelby County schools. That's a difficult and a hard thing. And I think that there's been some good leadership on that. I'll stop on the voucher part with just this. I think there has been too much. When the governor says jump, we have to say how high in the General Assembly. I don't necessarily want that. I want a little iron sharpens iron. I want to put the ideas out and make those suggestions. And I think that even within our own party, there needs to be some dissent. And it doesn't need to be dissent that, tries to kind of coerce you into voting for things like the vouchers. I think that's wrong. And I know across the state, the consensus is not favorable on the vouchers.
On the Second Amendment, Tennessee has made some big gains, but there's still ongoing battles, legal fights. As governor, what concrete steps would you take in the first year to further secure the right to keep and bear arms? And would you be willing to confront federal agencies over it?
Yeah, I'll start with that last part. Absolutely. If I'm governor of the state of Tennessee, do not expect to walk into my state, the state of people that I serve, and disarm Tennesseans. I will not allow that to happen. Secondly, one of the first things I would do is this crazy appeal on the Hughes versus Lee lawsuit. My goodness, how foolish. I had another state rep friend of mine say, well, we need the court to tell us how to write the law. Really? Are you that constitutionally illiterate that you think that the court needs to tell us how to write that? And so we've had that. I think we're not going to enforce unconstitutional law in the state of Tennessee. I think that's an obligation of the governor, and I think the long gun prohibition that came in 1989 needs to be changed. I carried House Bill 2514 this past year and another bill similar to it the year before that would have brought about really a full constitutional carry. Get 21 votes, 17 Republicans and 4 Democrats to pull it to the floor, because the committee chairman wouldn't hear it. He was more worried about maintaining a committee chair, I think. We had a group of Young Americans for Liberty that come down for that bill because it included campus carry. We need to decriminalize campus carry, college campuses.
Let's harden these soft targets.
It is. That's right. That's right. And let's put up signs on our state office buildings that have the silly Ghostbuster no gun sign, no knives sign now. We're going to replace that with a sign soon into the Fritts administration.
Lots of guns inside.
That's something along those lines, that these folks have had the access to additional training that want it. Enter on your own beware if you intend to do something harmful. I think we have to reacquire that posture. There's in 1 Kings chapter 21, it's about Ahab. Ahab was a wicked king, a wicked, weak male king, and he was influenced by Jezebel. She brought in all the false gods and all that kind of stuff. And so he goes to try to take a vineyard away from a guy named Naboth, right? And Naboth says no. And it's some of the most profound words, I think, in Scripture. He says, the Lord prohibit me from giving you my father's inheritance. And we've allowed our inheritance in many ways, not just in property rights, but in gun rights, to be eroded by weak male politicians. And we're going to establish a different posture in the state of Tennessee. We're going to lead the country like God intended us to.
We're with Monty Fritts in studio. I know our time is short, so I'm just going to run through these last questions as quickly as possible. On government size and spending, Tennessee's budget has grown significantly. You have been an outspoken critic. Can you name 2 or 3 specific areas of the state government that you believe should be cut or eliminated and not just reformed?
Yes, let's leave more money in people's pockets. Let's get rid of the 4% state grocery sales tax. That puts more money in people's pockets to spend, and it takes some of the money out of these bureaucrats' hands in Nashville. I think that's important. Corporate welfare has to end in Tennessee, whether it's $30 million to Starbucks or whether it's the dollars that we invested in Ford or in a Titan. I know this is unpopular in Nashville, but whether it's a Titan Stadium in Nashville or whether it's a Smoky Stadium in Knoxville, it is not the taxpayers' responsibility to fund these projects. We're going to stop that in Tennessee. And last thing I would offer, it's more local, but it's going to require state action. We need to reform property tax in Tennessee. This whole taxation against unrealized capital gains, where we have 4 to 5 year assessments, we're establishing something really bad with that. Your property ought to be worth what you pay for. I've tried to carry legislation for those things. As governor, I intend to lead us there.
I like that idea. On the grocery tax, if you eliminate the 4% grocery tax, you are eliminating a significant portion of revenue to the state of Tennessee. How do you round that out in the budget?
So we carried those. I think first is you stop the investment in corporate welfare, and I think that helps with that. I think there will be some local revenue gain just from leaving those dollars in. The 2 bills that I've carried for the 4% state grocery tax had about $160 million revenue hit. That was calculated by the folks in finance here. It's a total of about $880 million estimate based on some other people who've run those bills. I think you step into that one. I think you don't have to correct that all in one fell swoop. I think there's a good way to start removing those, similar to the bills I've offered over the past 4 years. And I think that we will never miss that money.
10-4. The polls still show Marsha Blackburn with a substantial lead. If the establishment candidates continue to freeze you out of debates and they continue to outspend you, I mean, the TV ads non-existent in the Monty Fritts campaign, what is the realistic path to victory for you on August 6th?
It is everyone telling 10 people who will tell 10 people that there's a liberty and less government candidate. that offers a working class perspective on being the chief executive for the state of Tennessee. And I really would offer a thank you to both the other campaigns for being afraid to debate, because I think it paints them both. It just took Congressman Rose less time to become a career D.C. politician, because the whole thing of agreeing to do a debate and then timidly pulling out just paints him as a career D.C. politician. I think there's more frustration about that now as I travel across the state. Everybody's kind of expecting Marcia to take the Biden basement approach, but not with John. I think he's so detrimental for that. I was so proud of him that he come up and did the little forum, at least in Knoxville, and he did okay. He misanswered a couple questions. He doesn't understand the Constitution on what a state guard is. He misanswered that. But at least he was there.
Yeah.
And so now this whole withdrawal thing, promise 1 minute and pull out the next, he did me a great favor. He just made my margin of victory greater.
There's a lot of voters, though, that are worried about splitting the vote, right? Like, that's a big fear, and helping the wrong candidate win. So why should they take the risk of voting for you instead of a safer, better funded option?
Oh, I would just first offer that it's political propaganda from both of those camps. They've gone back and forth. If you vote for Monty, you're voting for the other person. Really, aren't we supposed to vote for the person that we think would do the best job, period? And so I would reject much of that propaganda that both the campaigns put out. I think they're seeing polls that they're not producing. I think they're putting out lots of propaganda and paid for, where they buy all the tables at the straw polls kinds of things. But I think they're in much worse trouble than what they're admitting publicly.
It seems like in the past couple of weeks you've gained a lot more steam, and there's a lot more energy behind this campaign than there was at the beginning. What would you credit that to?
The good Lord. I think that he has awakened a sense in people around Tennessee. I think, in Ezekiel 37, there's the whole valley of the dry bones, and God takes him, shows it to him, and he says, "Oh, son of man, look at this valley of dry bones." And he said, "I heard a rattling noise," and then sinew comes on the bones. And I think God's awakened the dry bones of an electorate that sees that we're headed the wrong direction. I hear bones rattling. I think I see sinew coming on the bones. I think there's a little army of voters coming up that nobody expects.
If you had 30 seconds to speak to a voter before they went into that voting booth on August 6th, what are you telling them?
I would say to them, I am a constitutional conservative, born-again Christian. Christ is king. Small government. Limited budget. Tennessee first. American national sovereignty. Citizen only. Country boy from Kingston, Tennessee. I'll fight for you, and I'll fight to maintain our Tennessee heritage. And I can offer evidence that I've been doing that for 4 years, and I would appreciate your vote. I'm going to love you, whether you vote for me or not, because we're fellow Tennesseans. So there's no animus in that, just a request, and I would appreciate consideration.
Monty Fritts running for governor. Early voting begins July 17th. The primary is August 6th. Where can we keep up with your campaign?
FrittsForTN.com, FRITTS, the number 4, TN.com. All the social media stuff. We've got a pretty good thing going with social media, and great radio shows like WTN.
Yes, sir.
They interview.
Well, Monty, we appreciate the time. As always, stay safe out there, and good luck on the campaign and the election.
Thank you, Chris.
9:55, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit, but we have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
Good morning. It's now 10 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Stick around, the forecast in 5. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents have been told to temporarily stop most vehicle stops nationwide immediately after a pair of fatal shootings in Texas and Maine involving ICE agents who said that the suspects drove their cars at them. Former Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino on Newsmax encouraging those agents.
I'll set the record straight for ICE. You ICE agents out there nationwide and especially in Maine, fantastic job. Keep it up. You're doing a great job. Never cower to the left or the anarchist rioters.
And in fact, President Trump this morning ordering the Department of Homeland Security to resume vehicle stops and continue its deportation operations at full speed. Well, right now he's acting Attorney General, but Todd Blanche said this in his opening remarks before the Senate Judiciary Committee.
In recent years, we watched the Justice Department turned against many of you and a former president, and it damaged the public's faith in justice. We are fixing that.
Blanche said he will need support of every Republican on the committee in order for his nomination to advance to the Senate floor. A Hermitage woman says she was scammed out of $1,200 by someone pretending to be a Davidson County Sheriff's deputy. Christy Mathis agreed to send the money through an online payment app to help a family member secure a pretrial release into a drug program. That was a scam. News 2 reports there have been no arrests. Mathis says her bank refuses to reimburse her. The latest on the financial saga at Uncle Nearest. WSMV4 is reporting CEO Fawn Weaver and her husband Keith have been booted out of the company. Uncle Nearest has been taken into receivership to protect the company's creditors. The receiver said the Weavers got in the way of his efforts to sell their properties to repay the creditors. They have been fired from their own company. And Supreme Court Justices Amy Coney Barrett and Elena Kagan at a hearing on Tuesday pleading for more security funding, saying they face an alarming rise in threats. They are said to be seeking a sizable 10% increase. That's about $14 million, almost entirely because of threats to the justices.
They want to beef up the police force there to 477 law enforcement officers. Right now they're using contractors. Really interesting new details about the types of threats. Justice Barrett said that the cyber threats against the Supreme Court alone, all those bad actors trying to get a sense of what they'd ruled before it's been released, 200 million attempted hacks just in the past year, and she said they expect that to double this year.
That is ABC's Devin Dwyer. That's the latest news. Your weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Yesterday in your Truth Social, you called the Iranians crazy bastards.
True.
What is your response to critics who say that...
I don't care about critics.
What is your response to critics who say that it is your mental health that should perhaps be examined as this war continues?
I haven't heard that. But if that's the case, you're going to have more people like me, because our country was being ripped off on trade, on everything, for many years until I came along. So if that's the case, you're going to have more people.
10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. So what do you think about Monty Fritts? What do you think about John Rose? What do you think about Marsha Blackburn? Phone lines are open for you to sound off. 615-737-9986. That's 615-737-9986. Did I say the show was brought to you by Better Water LLC? Well, it is. And you can listen to the show anywhere, iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can catch that interview again on all the podcast platforms, Apple and Spotify. It's also available on YouTube and Rumble, where we stream live every single day during this time and all the other shows as well. Hit like, hit subscribe. We do have John Henry coming in. He is running for the 6th Congressional District. He'll be joining me in studio at 10:35 for an interview. But in the meantime, hoping for some reaction from you. Thoughts on Monty Fritts, thoughts on Marsha Blackburn, John Rose, who you voting for and why. 615-737-9986. I will say, one of the things that I like about Monty was when I said we were going to do the interview, when we finally got it locked down, I said, Monty, a lot of people don't know much about you. And I think that's one of the things that's tough for him. He has a name recognition battle against John Rose and Marsha Blackburn. It's an uphill battle. And quite frankly, while we've had him on the show before, we had him on when people weren't paying attention to the gubernatorial race yet. I think that everybody in Tennessee is really starting to get geared up for this. As Matt Murphy called it, cotton picking season, but it's time to start picking your candidate. So I wonder what your thoughts are, and I wonder what you think. I have texted John Rose, and I have opened an invitation to John Rose or Marsha Blackburn. More than welcome to come on the program. We would never want to, sway away from giving these guys equal time by any stretch of the imagination. And I think that giving you more information about the candidates is a good thing, not a bad thing. And I think that we should get John Rose on and we should get Marsha Blackburn on and ask them the same exact questions that Monty just answered. Because I think that paints a big picture of what the future of Tennessee looks like. Let's go to Mike in Spring Hill. Mike, who are you voting for? Who do you like? Tell me your thoughts.
Hey, Chris. Always great to talk to you. Blackburn is definitely a no, and the reason is, I think you were interviewing her a while back, and I forget the issue, but her response was she was going to leave it for the next session. And in the real business world, if I told my boss that, I'd be fired. So she's definitely a no. Now, I wasn't going to vote for Rose until your interview with Fritz. I said, I like this guy. I'm going to vote for him until he said he'd take away school vouchers. And in the blink of an eye, I said, no, this guy is out. I guess I'm going to go with Rose.
What is it about the school vouchers that's a deal breaker for you?
I'm a grandparent, and I should have the choice where my money or so goes where my kids want to go to school. I shouldn't be tied to the public school. So I think parents should have the option of where their money goes for their kids' education.
But could you understand where he's coming from? I mean, right now, what is it? 35,000 kids get the opportunity at these vouchers. And when it's only $7,500, I believe it was, going the way of the child. I mean, a lot of these kids in some of these communities, that $7,500 isn't going to cut it for a private school. I mean, you and I both know that.
Well, true, but it does help. But I think they still should have the option with school vouchers. That's just my view.
Are you aware that some of the school voucher money is going to Islamic schools?
No. So then, thank you for that. That definitely would be a no. It should not be going to Muslim schools, so I guess I would change my mind.
I would just say, Mike, I mean, listen, on its face, I love the idea of school vouchers. But the way it's been implemented, I think has been poor. And that's just me. And you're entitled to your own opinion, too. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just having a conversation.
No, I think you just educated me, and definitely that's why I listen to you. You educate me. If it's going to Muslim schools, I definitely would be against it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, do a dig, Mike. I think you would be very, very shocked as to where some of that money is going. Let's go, and I appreciate your call. Let's go to Aubrey in the borough. What's up, Aubrey?
Hey, Chris. just want to tell you that Monty Fritts has my vote. Now, I have always been a Marsha Blackburn supporter until she became the senator from Tennessee in the federal government. She totally changed. And so now, after listening to him, he speaks so naturally from his heart, from his mind, and the conviction that he has, not only as a man of Tennessee government, but as a Christian. And he is not a pre-programmed politician. You can tell that just by the way he speaks. You know, everybody else is so careful about their wording. And I am definitely a President Trump supporter, but I did not agree with his endorsement of Marsha Blackburn. And we can always disagree with people that we sometimes agree with 99% of the time.
Yep.
What I will say
I say all the time, me and my wife don't agree on 100% of things, and
Right.
I love her to death, you know?
Exactly. But on the school voucher thing, that's something that when they said that those support the Islam schools, I drew a flat red line. I said, that's it, because that is what is destroying America right now. And that will be the next thing after our mass deportations that we have to tackle, or we will lose America forever.
Yep, I'm with you, Aubrey, and I appreciate the call. Let's go to John in Columbia. What's up, John? How are you?
How you doing? I didn't really know much about Monty Fritts until I heard your interview. I've never been sold on Blackburn. I wasn't really sold on Rose, but I really enjoyed the interview with Fritz. Three things that he said that really sold me was eliminating the 4% sales tax on food, getting rid of the school vouchers, and I really liked his stance on the property tax reform. In the last 8 years, my property taxes have tripled.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's getting to the point where I don't know if I can afford to stay in my own house anymore.
Yeah. And he said on other interviews with me that he thinks it's an absolute crime that a bank can come take away your home if you can't pay your property taxes, that they can take the home away from you, and he wants to fix that as well.
Yeah. But he really sold me. One thing I'd really like the suggestion, if y'all could do, it'd be great. My congressional district got changed from 5th to 9th, and I'm really trying to find out information about some of these candidates in the 9th district, and I'm having a hard time doing so, and I'm sure people in other districts are doing the same thing. If you could get 5th and 9th district candidates in that with the same type of interviews, that would be great. I would also suggest there is another local independent candidate for governor in Columbia named Lauren Pinkston. If I would be interested to hear more of what she's got to say, if y'all could get her on the radio.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not against it, John, and I appreciate it. I'll definitely do more of a dig on the 9th and get some of those candidates in for you, I promise.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much for listening. I did want to double back. There was Aubrey in the borough had said that she disagreed with Trump's endorsement of Blackburn. And I do think it's important to point out that President Trump hasn't endorsed anyone in the governor's race in Tennessee. Now, you can make the argument that's because he doesn't want to upset John Rose or Marsha Blackburn, but the statement still stands. There is no Trump endorsement in the governor's race for Tennessee. Let's go to Steven on the road. What's up, Steve? How are you?
Hey, good sir. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. What do you got?
Yeah, man, that was a great interview, man. I've checked YouTube. There's not too much on there with Fritz, but I wish you would clip that whole interview and upload that to YouTube so people can share it and spread it around, because you had some great questions and he answered them all very professionally. He sounds like a very down-to-earth guy. He is definitely a fighter, you can tell. And, yeah, man, I just, appreciate the interview, and hopefully there's a chance. I don't know. It seems like Blackburn is pretty much in there for right now, but if we can share things and get more people to know about that, I think we may have a fighting chance.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a chance for Fritz, and I think that there's definitely a path to victory for him. You know, if we remember the last governor's race, when Lee was an unknown commodity, he didn't have a chance to win at all until the end. And I don't know, at least from my perspective, and I admit maybe I'm in an echo chamber, I'm seeing a lot of steam from Monty Fritts. I'm seeing a lot of energy behind that campaign, and in a way that I'm, at least online, in a way that I'm not seeing it with other candidates. Again, I could be very wrong. But I think Monty's doing a great job. Yes, the Monty Fritts interview will be clipped and posted on YouTube in its entirety. It's also going to be available on Apple and Spotify podcasts. So you'll be able to go back and find it very, very easily and share it with any friends or anybody that wants to hear about it. Let's go to John in Lebanon. What's up, John? How are you?
Hey, Chris. I just wanted to comment, the very fact that you had to point out that there is no Trump endorsement for a Tennessee governorship is exactly what I don't like about Republicrats. Marsha Blackburn absolutely runs commercials that pushes that Donald Trump endorsed her, and it's absolutely not true.
Yep.
The Republicrats always have their insiders. You know, they've got the money to work with. It's hard to get these people out of office because of that, because they have an endless supply of money. They have the name recognition, which doesn't speak well for Tennesseans or any other state for that matter. Just because you have name recognition, you can't get a good guy like Fritz in there.
Yep.
But anyway, I just thought I'd point that out, and Fritz has my vote all the way.
Well, hey, I appreciate the call, John. And I mean, Marsha's worked with President Trump on some things, and John Rose has worked with President Trump on some things, and I don't think that President Trump thinks ill of either of them. I don't want to make that you know, the narrative here. But I will say I respect that Monty is running Monty's campaign. And you see this everywhere. This isn't just the governor's race, but in a lot of the congressional races too. It's like an ad will come on and it'll be like Trump, 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 Trump. By the way, I'm asking for your vote for Congressional District X. And it's like, okay, President Trump isn't going to be there forever. So, and especially in the governor's race, what are you going to do for Tennesseans after Trump is out of office? How are you going to secure our liberty and our rights moving forward? What is your platform, and can you explain it without saying President Trump once? Now, this doesn't mean that Monty is anti-Trump whatsoever. We were talking off the air, and he was like, yeah, I was there on Jan 6 listening to his speech at the Ellipse. And he said it was great. Like, he's very pro-Trump. But I like that he's run a campaign where he hasn't been like, Trump, 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 Monty Fritts, Trump, Trump, Trump. And I can't exactly say the same about Blackburn or Rose. And to be fair, Rose has done it to a lesser extent than Marsha Blackburn has. But a lot of people are campaigning off of Trump. Maybe it's a winning recipe. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm open to the fact that I'm wrong. I oftentimes am. But from my vantage point, I just can't stand it. It just seems lazy to put out a campaign ad where it's all about President Trump, and then at the end you ask for our vote. Whatever office you're running for. I'm the Trump of this county. I'm the Trump of that county. I'm like Trump because I do this. I'm like Trump because I do that. And I love President Trump. But tell me about you, fam. Don't tell me about... I know him. I know what President Trump is. I think it's well documented at this point what President Trump is. So tell me about you. And Monty's run his campaign without riding the coattails of President Trump. So that means a lot to me. I don't know. Maybe it means something to you. Maybe it doesn't. But I respect it. It'd be very easy to get into a campaign and go Trump, 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 Trump. Vote for me. It's 10:21. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Zero Res Nashville. A lot of rain means the flowers are going to be blooming, crops are going to be growing. It also means mud and dirt on the carpets. If you got 4 kids and 2 dogs like I do, they're dragging all that dirt in. You ask them to take their shoes off outside, they never do. And the dirt inevitably gets on the carpets. So what do? Well, you call your friends at Zero Res Nashville. Now, what you're going to like and what I like and what my wife likes is they're the Maha of carpet cleaners. They're going to clean your carpets without harsh chemicals and without leaving behind soap residue. They're using their exclusive ZR water system that actually gets everything out. And my carpets look insanely clean. They dry faster. And they honestly stay clean longer. And it matters when you've got kids running in and out of the house all day, if you got a bunch of pets running in and out of the house all day. And right now, it's always the perfect time to do it. They have 2 and 3 room specials going on today that you should be taking advantage of. They've got close to 4,800 Google reviews, a 4.9 rating. So it's not just me vouching for the guys over at Zero Res. Clearly, a lot of families in Middle Tennessee trust them. Call 615-535-9376 to book today. That's 615-535-9376. Again, they have 2 and 3 room specials going on right now. You can also book online at ZeroResNashville.com.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings. We pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
Under fire, Todd Blanche is being grilled on Capitol Hill. His confirmation hearings are underway. That and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 10:26-ish? 10:26-ish on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 6-ish is a technical term. See, we run behind on the radio by what, 15 seconds on delay?
Right around.
So I get really nervous when it's like 10:25:55. I don't want to lie to the people.
We want to be with the people.
It was 10:25 when I was looking at the clock, but by the time you heard it, it was 10:26. Hence the ish. 26-ish.
Like to stay on top here.
26-ish. Tomorrow night, have you seen? President Trump is going to be giving a big time speech.
Ooh.
And a lot of people are saying that it has to do with election integrity. Is he going to talk about foreign influence in our elections? You know it's going to be a powerful speech when the people at CNN were trying to debunk it before it even happened. Scott Jennings set Abby Phillips straight on that. He He's like, wasn't it just a few years ago all you Democrats were yelling about foreign interference in our elections? I don't know if that's going to be the case. I do know that President Trump was asked about it yesterday while he was sitting with the Iraqi prime minister inside the Oval Office. He did confirm that he's on the verge of a massive announcement surrounding election fraud ahead of his 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Tennessee time. Once again, the Central Time Zone is the best time zone. Address to the nation tomorrow night.
Machines and integrity. Can you give us sort of a sneak peek about what to expect and tell the
Well,
audience
I'd rather
in
save
America?
it. It will concern that subject, and we'll have a couple of other things to
Why
say
should people
also.
watch them?
But I'd rather save it, but it's really big news. It's really, really big news. And our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about Thursday is it doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement. Yeah.
We'll be discussing other things too, but it does have to do with election integrity. Major announcement, major news, not going to get in front of it. Liberals are already melting down. They're already panicked. I don't know what it could be. I don't know. Maybe it has to do with the Skid Row bribery that we saw happen in the LA race, where they were paying these homeless people on Skid Row $2 to register to vote or fill out a good old-fashioned mail-in ballot. Did you see those videos? I saw those videos. Maybe it has to do with the 2020 election and the investigation by the FBI into Fulton County, Georgia. Maybe. I don't know. All I know is that this address is going to be prime time Thursday night viewing. Get the popcorn ready. Get a watch. Do we have a watch party? We should have a watch party. Maybe we have a watch party. But maybe there's not enough time. I don't know. But this is going to be a big speech. Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 Central. Once again, we live in the best time zone. On the way, John Henry is going to be in studio. Who is John Henry? Well, as you know, John Rose is leaving the 6th congressional district. He's running for governor. He wants to be the governor of Tennessee, but it leaves the seat open in Tennessee's 6th, the fighting 6th. And John Henry is one of those candidates that is going to be running for that congressional seat. He is a Marine. He has a lot of experience in Tennessee, cattle farmer from Smith County, not a career politician, and he's going to join us on the way to talk about what his plans would be if he represented the 6th district in Congress. And again, a lot of people are now just starting to pay attention to these races. So we do want to be getting a lot more candidates in. Anybody that's running in the 6th is more than welcome to join us on the show. We had a caller a little while ago say, I'm in the new 9th and I don't know who's running. We're going to do our best over these next couple of weeks to really, really hone in on these races and get as many candidates in studio for interviews as humanly possible. So stay tuned for that. John Henry will join us next. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. As the confirmation hearing for Attorney General nominee Todd Blanche kicked off this morning, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley is urging Democrats to move ahead with Blanche, calling it one of the most important positions in the country.
As sure as sunrise, today some of my Democrat colleagues will tell us that Mr. Branch has uniquely terrible nominee. Before they do so, however, I urge them to remember the boy who cried wolf.
In fact, Democrats have so far accused the DOJ of violating court orders and accusing Blanche of using his position to prosecute President Trump's political opponents. On Monday, an armed man was arrested near Capitol Hill, telling police he was headed for the Supreme Court. Yesterday, 2 Supreme Court justices asked Congress for more money for security.
Justices Amy Coney Barrett and Elena Kagan pleading for more security funding, saying they face an alarming rise in threats. Barrett describing how she explained her bulletproof vest to her 12-year-old son.
I wanted to know what it was and why I had it, and I didn't know how to respond because maybe I lack imagination, but I didn't expect that performing this service was going to put me in the position of explaining to my children what a bulletproof vest was and why I had to wear one.
And Barrett describing a swatting incident at her home just last month.
That's ABC's Jay O'Brien. A Davidson County judge issuing a temporary injunction stopping the State Department of Health from sharing the immigration status of kids in the state's social services program. The case stems from a lawsuit filed by the Tennessee Justice Center, which says that the policy could discourage families from seeking medical care. The program is intended to make sure benefits are being given to U.S. citizens only. That's the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Once again, giving my full seal of approval on some brand new tech that they have in the office. Nobody can touch Dr. Mitchell when it comes to healing and cutting edge technology. And they've done it again, the brand new Medical Bay 1. This is a futuristic healing machine designed by Dr. Mitchell himself. You sit back like you're in an Artemis spaceship designed for healing, getting a full body massage while red light, near infrared, and photon wavelengths light up your cells the way God designed them to respond, and it'll stimulate your stem cells for real tissue regeneration. This is epic healing that you can only get at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. That's not all they do, though. They also do the non-surgical spinal decompression. One of the things that they don't do, though, is push painful injections, surgery, or try to write you a prescription for opioids. That's not their style. Right now, they're running the Epic Spinal Special, $33 off each visit. You can launch your pain-free voyage. You can get back to a pain-free life this summer by picking up your phone and calling or going to the website, 615-246-5009 or painisbad.com. That's 615-246-5009 or painisbad.com. A pain-free life is a phone call or a click away. Painisbad.com. Are Democrats waking up to the fact that 80-20 issues aren't exactly a good look to defend?
To the average person, the murder rate's about life and death. You don't brag about a rising murder rate. And the Democrats are, I agree with you, Mika, they're falling into the trap of defending what's indefensible.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Yes, it's a trap. I mean, if it's not a winner politically.
I mean, I think she's right. It is a bit of a trap to root for these 80-20 issues, men and women's sports, boys in girls' locker rooms.
No, that's not 80-20. That's 97-3.
Fair. That's 97-3. But we also have illegal alien gang member MS-13 members, Kilmar. Democrats defend him. We've seen Democrats rooting for a recession. All these 80-20 issues, and this is what made the Democrats realize it? How long until they forget again? A few hours, tops. It's 10:37, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere. All the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us as well. Super Talk TV is up and running on YouTube and Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch as well. Mason has been raising the bar on the YouTube stream. He's absolutely the algorithm tickler behind the scenes.
We're trying.
That's it. That's what you should put on your business card. We were trying to figure out an official title for Mason on his business card. Algorithm tickler.
It's a work in progress.
I feel like that's the best one we've come up with so far. Mason does a great job. He's producing. Ken Weaver's back in the newsroom digging into the headlines. But in studio, we are joined by John Henry, who this is his second time on the show. John he's running for the currently vacant, because John Rose is bowing out. He's going for the governor's race. 6th Congressional District here in Tennessee. John, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me for the second time. You're the first one to have me last May, and I'm grateful, brother.
Well, I'm glad to have you on, man, and I think you have a cool story. You're a retired Marine Sergeant Major. But, I say retired, but everybody tells me, no, it's always Marine. Yeah. They know the retirement's just on the paperwork. But you're also a cattle farmer from Smith County. You are not a career politician. So nobody was paying attention the last time to the current congressional races, because we had you on,
14 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. So now that everybody is kind of paying attention, for voters in the 6th District who are starting to keep score, explain why John Henry is the right person to replace John Rose and why you believe the other Republicans in this primary aren't enough.
Well, first of all, we're grounded in the faith of God. We believe that when we started this campaign, I and my wife, we prayed hard to make sure we were doing the right thing, and we felt this was it. And to be honest with you, this is the last grassroots campaign. I mean, we are literally from small town America. As you just said, we have a 30 cow-calf operation. I work a full-time job. I'll literally leave here, go work my job, and then turn around and leave tonight for another event. So it's been nonstop for 14 months since you helped me announce our candidacy. So 14 months, we haven't stopped. We've literally had a grassroots campaign that I feel everyone listening to this audience would run themselves. No special interest money, and work. And so we think that's important. Our grassroots campaign is so important. I was the chairman of the Republican Party there in Smith County. I was part of the Cattlemen's Association. I was the commander of the American Legion, so I was serving veterans. And I just thought this was a calling. I needed to step out from all that volunteer work and really start serving the people of the 6th District.
I mean, you're up against it right now. Van Hillary, former congressman, deep ties to the current office holder. You got Johnny Garrett, who he's running a good campaign. He's got far more money. You've chosen this grassroots path, which is low-dollar campaign, political outsider. Why have you chosen this harder path, and what makes your approach different from the two better-financed candidates?
Well, I'll just be honest with you, because I think the people of the 6th District want to see this. They want to see somebody get out there. You see us on Facebook, Henry for Congress. You see us on our website. We're busting our rump because that's the way I think people would want. They don't want you taking that special interest money. They want you out there in the 6th District meeting as many people as you can in every venue possible, shaking hands and earning votes. And I think, Chris, that's what we've done, is we've earned votes over 14 months. And a campaign, we should rewrite the way campaigns are done. It should not be about money. I mean, are you done with the flyers in the mail? Are you done hearing the commercials that are just really silly? Are you ready just to see people, real people, actually run for an office that they're supposed to be running for? Run, not just let somebody else run it for them. And I think that's important.
And that's how you position yourself. You position yourself as the non-career, non-establishment option in this race. Have you accepted PAC money? If so, which types of PACs? Where is your hard line on corporate, leadership, or special interest money?
Very important. We have not taken any special interest and no PAC money. We have had some folks from PACs address us, but we have not accepted any. We've only taken small donations, usually around $25 to $100, nothing big at all. You can go on Ballotpedia and see exactly how much money all three of us have, how much we've spent, and how much we have on hand. It shouldn't really matter, but you'll see that's another definition of grassroots, that you don't take that special interest. If someone was to approach us at this stage of the game, we're very apprehensive. We will not be beholden, and you'll find the other two candidates will be beholden because they have $1 million. they're beholden to someone. You get that money, you got to answer to someone, and we haven't taken it. So that's very important for us.
Well, so how do you believe that the money flowing into this race would influence how a congressman votes once they get to Washington?
Well, you probably see it. You can probably see it in education. Do you get money from education PACs? Who do you get money from? And you'll see a little bit of their tone. Hey, you know, we helped you push you across the finish line. We see it in D.C. every day. We see people that take, again, teachers' unions money. You see these special interests. How about the pharmaceutical money? I mean, my goodness gracious alive. What did we see during COVID? That's the first thing people want to know is my congressman paid off by a pharmaceutical company? It's important to me. And so that's why I'm a researcher. I was blessed to be able to research everything we've done. I and my team. I was able to use my GI Bill and receive a PhD last year. I mean, I've just been so blessed. So we do that. We research everything. And that's a big piece for us. Just because somebody comes to us and wants to throw money at us, we're very apprehensive. Would the people of the 6th District want me to take that money? That's a premier question in everything we do.
We're talking with John Henry. He's positioning himself as the grassroots candidate for the 6th Congressional District. Let's talk flock cameras and surveillance. Flock safety cameras, automated license plate readers expanding across the state, feeding data into larger networks. So from a constitutional standpoint, do you support or do you oppose the growth of these systems? And what specific actions do you think you could take in Congress on warrantless tracking, data retention, or federal access to that information?
Well, everybody can find my bio on my website, From Private to Sergeant Major. And during that time, if you remember, President Bush passed that bill. That was passed on his watch about surveillance. And we see now that that's been turned against us in every way imaginable. It wasn't just for terrorists. It's on all of us. I think that's against our Constitution. Very clearly, it's not in the Constitution that we're able to surveil people like this. And so when I'm in Congress, I'll continue to support and I will make legislature that will help secure that we are not seeing and viewing people from any means without a warrant. I just believe when it talks about that in the Constitution, if it's not a warrant, then we can't do it. It doesn't matter if it's license plate readers, whatever it may be. I just think that goes a little too far and outside the purview of the Constitution.
What do you think the balance is, though, between it being a legitimate police tool and the risk of building a permanent surveillance state in America?
Well, that's the key, is not having a permanent surveillance state. It should have been selective back in the 2000s when it was passed. It wasn't. It was blanket. And we know that actors, whether they're foreign or domestic, are the ones that are using that against us for everything. Algorithms, how we purchase things, it's just gone a little too far. So I think there needs to be side rails on each of those to think about how it is not becoming a permanent way of our lives, whether it be buying a Froca Mocha Latte or where it may be. They already know what we're doing every single day, and that's important, right?
Yeah, no, I think it is. We're talking with John Henry, 6th Congressional District candidate. If you got into Congress, national debt, the spending, completely out of hand. Do you have 2 or 3 specific areas of federal spending that you would fight to cut or eliminate in your first term?
Well, I would. The Department of Education, it's the third pillar of our whole campaign is education. Education needs to get moving at a faster pace to get out of the federal hands. We have local school boards, and it doesn't need to go above a local school board. But the thing is, the money filters down for the U.S. government. That's probably one of the main things I would look at is how can we quickly get all education out of the federal government's hands down to state level and even just to local level and work from there. I think we would see a big cut on that. I'll be honest with you, and I think you are as well, Chris, I'm a big Doge fan. I think that all of that that's been spent on, we probably won't get into all the topics, but the illegal immigrants and what we spent, the welfare we spent, the hotels, the housing, it's really, really brought a lot of unnecessary expenses that we need to whittle away in U.S. Congress.
I think we could both agree that the condoms that we bought for the people of Mozambique was money well spent. So, college sports, right? They get out of the college league, then they go to the pros. There's always a pro comp. Yeah. So if we were doing a pro comp on John Henry, or you were looking at your first term in Congress and you're trying to identify who your allies would be in Congress, what are some names that come to the top of mind?
Well, first of all, in the lower chamber in the House of Representatives, there's 100 of those folks who are actual veterans, military. Of the 100 in the upper chamber in the U.S. Senate, 20 of those are. So that's who I plan on starting with, is those veterans, getting to know them. we all swore an oath, and that oath is the same. And so when you're looking at someone, are you going to bold-faced lie to me? Who will I be able to trust? Eli Crane, when I was able to go to D.C. and sit down and meet with him, you know, Eli Crane is upstanding congressman. The first thing he said, what's your faith in God? You know, and that's a big piece of what I look for in the congressman that I want to align with, because we know those morals, those ethics that are based on godly principles are the most important. So to be honest with you, Eli Crane, folks like that, I mean, I'm Andy Ogles. I appreciate how aggressive he was as a freshman in Congress. I mean, he was aggressive. Yep. And I look forward to learning from folks like that. I mean, John Rose is the outgoing congressman. What can I learn from him on his way out when I take his place and we just move the Rose out and put the Henry on there for the Johns? I look forward to doing that. But for me, I'm an open book. I'm looking for as much advice as I can get, as much counsel as I can get, mainly from the 6th District, but we'll work with whoever we feel has that moral and ethics compass up in Washington, D.C., Chris.
Given your military background, on the Second Amendment, beyond the standard, I stand behind the 2A line, what specific federal restrictions or agencies would you target in your first year? And would you be willing to use the power of the purse or oversight to confront the ATF or other federal agencies?
Well, definitely the ATF, anything I can do to protect the 6th District, right? We have the right to bear arms, any arms that we want. I think that's important. I think for me, as I look across the landscape and so many things are going on right now, we really have to take a look at that education. I know I've hit it once already, but there's just so much that your children and my children have at stake when it comes to education. So the monies that go into that, the policies and procedures we see over the education system today, I think that has to be looked at. There's a few other things I look at when we talk about industry. We've done so much to offshore our industry. What can we do? What policies, procedures are there so we can reshore that? And when I get into U.S. Congress, I look to coalesce with folks who have that mindset, who want to help revitalize small town America, specifically small town Tennessee, right? We need to bring that industry back. For our country, if we have to have something to maintain our sovereignty, it needs to be manufactured and made in Tennessee. It's not now, including our military-industrial complex. We don't know the things that our military makes that's manufactured overseas. I want to work to reshore all of that here, whether it be electronics, whatever it may be. That needs to come back to America, and I want to help make that happen. That's very important to me.
And that pressure point was completely exposed during COVID.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
100%. You've signed the term limits pledge.
Yes, sir.
So how seriously do you take that commitment, and would you support a constitutional amendment, even if it limited your own time in Congress?
Absolutely. I have signed on to it, and I want to put a little meat to the bone. That's what I call this. Everywhere we go, we talk to anybody, we answer any question. This is one very specific. I feel that a U.S. Senator should not serve more than 2 terms. That's 12 years, Chris. Then they need to get a job, get out. Now, the U.S. Congressman, the lower chamber, U.S. House of Representatives, should never serve longer than a U.S. Senator. So that way you always have an offset, right? So if I serve 12 years, I can serve no longer. And so the U.S. Senators already rotate out. You get to see those U.S. Senators rotate out every 6 years. We know the president is 4 years. So it's important that your U.S. Congressman cannot be in U.S. Congress over 12 years. That's needed more than ever today.
Where are you at on foreign policy in America first? Where do you draw the line on foreign aid? Where are you at on endless wars and the U.S. involvement overseas? Where are you at on Iran? Can you give voters a clear sense of how you would vote differently from the more establishment Republicans in this race?
Yes, and because of experience. That's why I'm running, because of experience. You know, Iran, I think, followed more of a footprint when I was in Desert Storm. I was a Marine in Desert Storm as a private. We went there. We had an objective. We had a time frame, a mission. 14 other countries, give or take, were part of that coalition. We took the 3rd largest army in Iraq and got out of Kuwait. And then President Bush, World War II president, told us, you're done. You're not taking them back into Iraq. Come home. And we were done. We were done with that whole conflict in 10 months. I know, because I was on the ground there. And I think Iran, maybe a little restructuring here, we need to follow that same thing. If we cannot find a resolution, if we just keep going in and bombing, sooner or later, we're just going to have to let Iraq, I use the word not Iraq, I'm sorry about that. We're going to have to let Israel and the other countries over there deal with Iran. I believe that.
Where are you at particularly on Israel? Do you think that we're in this conflict because of Israel?
Well, I don't. I think that, and this is hard for me. I'll tell you, Chris, because as a Marine, we've been waiting 47 years. Okay. In 1983, a terrorist came through and bombed the Beirut barracks and killed over 200 Marines. Well, we've been thinking about that. And you said, once a Marine, always a Marine. We've been thinking about it. We're grateful President Trump came on board and made this happen, because Iran has had a price to pay for 47 years in the eyes of Marines and other service members. So no, I think it's long overdue. We finally had a president, President Trump, who had the guts to step forward and hold Iran accountable. They're not going to stop, Chris. We know that. So if it's turned over to Israel and those other Arab states to deal with Iran, maybe that may be the end result.
John Henry is in studio. He wants your vote for the 6th Congressional District for Congress here in Tennessee. You're currently trailing in visibility and fundraising against candidates with stronger institutional backing. So what's your realistic path to winning on the August 6th primary?
I think what I call voter exhaustion. I've been out through all these, even when we redistricted, which I thought you might ask me about that, Chris. That was kind of comical. Both of my opponents were in Sumner County. We lost all of Sumner County except for 2 little areas that they live in. Kind of convenient. But for those farmers out there, my daddy had a co-op account in Trousdale County, Macon County, and Smith County. When they came through, they cut out Trousdale and Macon County. So we've been fighting to make up that time, and that saturation means a lot to us. That means getting out every day after work and getting out there. You'll see, again, if you go to Balpia, you'll see how much all of us, when we turn in our finance reports, we have about 1/10 of them when it comes to finances. And we spend our money because it's the people's money. We don't do like the competitors will do and get all the PAC money, all the special interest money, people's money up for 11 months. And the last month, spend it like drunken sailors. Chris, I can say that as a Marine. Spend it like a drunken sailors on mailers. Their loves, those 15 mailers they're getting, on commercials, on radio, which, by the way, we are doing radio, and thank you for that. But it's important that people know that you have a candidate that is running a campaign the exact same way he'll run as your congressman. Every dime matters. We don't use the word millions and billions and trillions as just a phrase. It means something. And dollars means something in this campaign. And I think, for me, a vote should not be bought.
So I will ask you about the redistricting since you brought it up. I mean, I think it's an important question. How do you feel about the redistricting? Do you feel like that was done intentionally?
Well, overall, let me just say right off the bat, and I know I said that while I got a little tongue-in-cheek, I believe exactly what Donald Trump said. Now, we have to remember places like Massachusetts have 9 districts just like Tennessee, and they've been blue Democrats for 40 or 50 years, but yet their population is about 43% in our last data collection.
Yeah, that's where I grew up, was Massachusetts.
43% Republicans.
They're very disenfranchised.
Yes, sir. And so the same thing happens in Tennessee. We've got that little blue dot down there in Memphis that doesn't represent Tennessee. So I was for the redistricting. I'll tell you that right now. And there's a number of different maps that came out, and we were surprised in the very end, but it didn't matter to us. We've got God on our side. We have faith that if we picked up counties, so be it. I mean, yes, some of the counties we lost, we were doing great in. We were mopping the floor with our opponents, but it didn't matter to us because we know there's a bigger plan. And in the end, we'll have 9 Republicans representing Tennessee, of me, who will be the 6th district.
And that's a good thing at the end of the day. John Henry is in studio. He wants your vote for the 6th Congressional District. Why is John Henry the person who will actually fight once he gets to D.C.?
Yeah, because that's who I am, right? This whole campaign should be about leadership, not your political experience. And I just ask anybody, look at my opponents. What leadership do they bring to the table? I bring 27 years as United States Marine, from private to sergeant major. And then when I got out, was able to use my GI Bill, get an education, and now I teach leadership at one of the largest tire retailers in America, 2 senior leaders. And that's important. That leadership will go to D.C. And the way you talk and you communicate, the emotional intelligence, the way we were trained in the Marine Corps to have high moral and ethical standards that I think represents the 6th District is what they will see. They'll also see transparency and hard work. We leave D.C., we come back and go throughout the 6th District. That's what will be important.
John Henry, where can we keep up with you online?
Everything. Henry for Congress. Find us on our webpage. I'm asking everybody to go there. But if you want to get tired, grab you dish towel and follow us on Facebook because we never stop, Chris.
Well, I appreciate the time, man, and good luck in your campaign. It's 10:57. My name is Chris Hand. I'm here for my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. If you're tired of health insurance that feels like a math test, confusing percentages, surprise bills, fine print that bites back, you know you can make it simple, and Cover Nash will do that for you with a brand new nationwide PPO plan that will give you the freedom to pick your own doctors anywhere in the U.S. No referrals, no red tape, just a $250 deductible, a flat $50 copay for any doctor, even specialists. Outpatient surgeries, $250 copay. Hospital stays, just $1,000 total. Free preventative care. Not that you're excited about a colonoscopy, but at least you're not paying for it because it is ACA compliant. And here's the kicker: no surprise bills, no hidden fees, just real protection from real providers. And if that plan's not the perfect fit, you're in luck. Cover Nash works with over 75 top-rated insurance companies. They can find something that works for your budget and your needs. Here's what you do. You visit covernash.com or you pick up the phone and you call Shane Ring today. 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023 or covernash.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little
Okay.
further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls and causing issues, settlement or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call you or reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt, we appreciate you.
It's 11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Right now, drivers in Lebanon, you might want to find an alternate route because Highway 109 southbound down to one lane again for some road work, and it is a 16-minute delay there between Hickory Ridge Road and East Division Street. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Dangerous heavy rain expected to continue in Texas today, heightening concerns on possible flash floods and damaging winds. Faith Abube.
A rare high-risk alert in effect, as some areas could see an additional 10 to 15 inches of rain in the coming days, increasing the risk of life-threatening flash floods. Parts of Texas Hill Country seeing more than a foot of rain in the last 24 hours. Governor Greg Abbott issuing disaster declaration in 59 counties.
President Trump reversing a Homeland Security Department decision that temporarily paused most ICE vehicle stops. The pause was ordered after two recent fatal shootings, one in Maine, one in Texas, involving immigration agents during traffic stops. Trump says traffic stops remain one of ICE's most effective enforcement tools, and he directed the agency to resume them. ABC's Victor Oquendo is in Maine, the site of that most recent fatal encounter.
Multiple sources tell ABC News the agent involved in the deadly shooting was a newly sworn-in ICE officer, but had been a law enforcement officer with the Department of Veteran Affairs since 2017. That representative for the family telling ABC News Guerrero was on his way to work. The agents were not wearing body cameras. The car's windshield covered in bullet holes.
Now, Borders Czar Tom Homan on when those body cameras going to be implemented.
I talked to the ICE director last night. There's a schedule for distribution. Right now they're in the middle of train to trainer. I didn't ask for the deployment schedule, but he says he has a deployment schedule. And as soon as the train to trainer is done, the trainers will get the cameras and they'll deploy as quick as possible.
Cost of living news. Plunging energy costs in June have helped to drive down the monthly producer price index, just as they did with consumer prices. ABC's Jim Ryan says the picture going forward isn't quite as clear.
It's starting to feel like a distant memory. The U.S. and Iran were talking about ending their war, and tankers were again passing through the oil-crucial Strait of Hormuz. It all helped to ease inflation at the consumer and wholesale level in June. But now hostilities have heightened and the strait is constricted, conditions that don't bode well for the July inflation stats to be released a month from now. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Goldman Sachs top lawyer and former Obama White House General Counsel Kathy Rumler is set to face questions from the House Oversight Committee today about her controversial relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Rumler never represented Epstein as an attorney, though documents released in the Epstein files suggest that she frequently provided him legal and public relations advice. In emails to Epstein, who she occasionally referred to as Uncle Jeffrey and compared to an older brother, Rumler thanked him for lavish gifts, got advice about her career, and lambasted lawyers representing Epstein's victims. Amid the renewed scrutiny over their relationship, Rumler announced plans earlier this year to step down as Goldman Sachs general counsel, though she's remained an advisor to the bank to this day. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Now, we're also keeping a close eye on what's happening in Biddeford, Maine. There are growing protests in the street after the second deadly shooting by ICE in a week. Now, a change from the top, ICE pausing most traffic stops as a method of apprehension for now, until agents get increased training on these kinds of stops. According to sources, we're going to dig into exactly what's going on around that today. Homeland Security saying that the officer who opened fire in Maine yesterday was, this is a quote from them, fearing for public safety. We know that there are investigations that are underway right now into exactly what happened. Now, DHS says that last week's deadly shooting in Texas was self-defense after a driver rammed an ICE vehicle with his van.
That's been a big topic of conversation, and we spoke about it at length yesterday. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes has been really the motto here. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe. A lot of kids to feed. And I tell them, we'll get some good food once we get the likes up. Got to get the views up, kids. Got to get the views up. Topic of conversation, immigration enforcement. Now, I was furious yesterday. I'm not going to lie to you. I was very upset after we spent a better part of the show defending ICE, defending the response to an illegal alien putting a car in drive and driving towards an ICE agent. It seemed like the administration was taking a weak-kneed approach. And I'll tell you why it frustrated me. It frustrated me because we all knew that all of this was going to happen. And we knew that we were going to find ourselves inside an optics battle one way or the other when it came to mass deportations. And let's be honest, the mass deportation numbers haven't even hit where they need to be. And it seems like we're not at full strength on mass deportations. And because illegal aliens are using poor judgment and reacting with reckless behavior, they are finding themselves on the other side of a pistol. And it's happened also with some U.S. citizens, Alex Preddy, Renee Nicole Good. I mean, we've seen it. And again, it's play stupid games, win stupid prizes. But if you remember, during the campaign, when mass deportations were being pushed, I said, you have to be willing to be tough because there will be an optics battle. Now, at the time, I had kind of surmised that we would find ourselves in a situation where it would be a young illegal alien child, or American citizen, as the Supreme Court likes to say, illegal alien child on TV crying because their mom or their dad had been deported. I didn't exactly see this coming. I didn't see the ICE watch. I didn't see the leftist Soros protesters following ICE around everywhere they go. I didn't see the apps. I couldn't predict the future 100%, but I knew it would be an optics battle. And the optics battle has evolved to where an illegal alien does something criminal, pays with their life, and then there's more protests and there's a lot of people losing their minds. And we're on our way towards midterms. The Senate race in Maine is very contested, believe it or not, even though Nazi tattoo guy is out. I think they're in the process of picking a new Democrat candidate. I don't think they've officially settled on one yet, but Susan Collins isn't exactly the most popular Republican ever. So she's got an uphill battle despite who the candidate may be. And now you have an optics battle going on in Maine because they shot one of our neighbors. And I was watching local news last night, and they played the clip of the woman on the ground. It's like, they're shooting American citizens because of their skin color. And it's like, none of that is actually factual. It was targeted surveillance on an illegal alien who they found. Then he got into a car, and then he tried to run over an ICE agent, and he got shot for it. Had nothing to do with an American citizen. It had nothing to do with an individual's skin color. This was targeted surveillance of a person with a final order of removal. And I was pissed yesterday because I thought the shooting was justified and I thought the administration was being weak-kneed. This is what we were told. We were told that ICE was immediately told to step down, temporarily stop most vehicle immigration stops following the 2 fatal shootings in recent days, unless the vehicle stop involves an egregious criminal illegal alien. This was reported by Bill Maluzhin, who, if you're keeping score at home, he's been pretty good on the immigration front when it comes to the reporting. So the shooting happened in Maine. The shooting happened in Texas. Both agents feared for their life or public safety. And they said, well, there were new ICE agents. They're going to be getting some new training. And we were looking at this going, well, this isn't good, because this could mean a decline in arrests if the existing vehicle stops were not already targeting egregious aliens. And I'm of the opinion that the whole mantra of we're targeting the worst first needs to be out the window by this point, because we've been in this administration now for a year and some change. About a year and a half. So I thought that we had ample time to go after the worst first. Now we should be targeting everybody. That's how I feel. When you have 20 million plus illegal aliens in the country, it's about time to get them out. So I've been disappointed. I've been disappointed in the mass deportations. I'm not going to front. But this new directive that came down was just like icing on that disappointment cake. It's people get cakes for retirement, but this was like a cake for being fired. Like, congratulations, you've been fired. It's like, it's not really a fun cake to cut into, But that was the cake that we were handed. Now, I will say this, while there was disappointment yesterday with this directive that was handed down, it's been officially overturned. And it has been officially overturned by President Trump. Alexis McAdams got her hands on a DHS memo that was sent out that said that the original DHS memo was sent out to all field office directors yesterday, saying all vehicle stops were suspended until further notice. But the White House is now telling Alexis McAdams that President Trump overturned the suspension of ICE traffic stops this morning. Finally, like cooler heads prevail. I mean, if you're an illegal alien, it's like, oh, the safest place to be now is in a car. Like, I'm going to rent an RV then, actually. I'm going to live in that because, you're stopping my vehicle. But the White House says there was no policy change, just an internal DHS memo that was quickly overturned. So the news of the demise of the vehicle stops has been greatly exaggerated, apparently, and the president has stepped in and said, no, you are allowed to stop these vehicles. But, I mean, the memo that was going around read like this: effective immediately, all ERO-initiated enforcement vehicle stops are suspended until further notice. This directive applies to all ERO law enforcement officers and mandates from personnel suspend from initiating any type of vehicle stop. However, when executing a criminal warrant on a target who is in a vehicle, please work with partner agencies to initiate the stop. All personnel are instructed to prioritize other existing operational methods outside of vehicle stops to conduct immigration enforcement activities. Officers should coordinate with their immediate supervisors regarding any ongoing activities impacted by this change. Well, it looks like that's just been crumpled up into a ball and thrown into the trash. Because, again, according to Alexis McAdams over at Fox News, the president himself has overturned that memo, which I say good. Optics be damned. These guys have a job to do, and these criminal illegal aliens need to be removed. And spoiler alert, if you're keeping score at home, if you're an illegal alien, you are by definition a criminal. So you should be removed. I don't take the Biden administration approach that even illegal aliens that are caught driving under the influence shouldn't be deported. No, I think they should all be deported. Whether you run a red light or whether you drive drunk and kill a family, you should be deported just the same. So it looks like the administration is back on track. Now, this came after Tom Homan last night basically defended the memo. And he was like, listen, there's not much I can do, but I can tell you what, we'll get them before they get in the vehicle. And I was like, all right, Tom, I'm with you. I get it. Maybe this is an optics battle inside an optics battle, optics inception, but it seems like we don't have to do optics inception any longer. This has been overturned, and that's a good thing. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I went from being very angry to just being like, okay, still not impressed with the mass deportation numbers. We still need to go balls to the wall, as the kids say, and get all of these illegal aliens out. Optics and midterms would be damned. This is the work that needs to be done. And everybody knows it. Yesterday, President Trump had a special visitor inside the White House. Did you see the special visitor that he had? He had the Iraqi prime minister inside the White House. Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi. I think I nailed that, actually. I think I nailed that on the first try. President Trump was excited to have him in here, except for the fact that he was younger and better looking than the president.
He's a young man. He's young and he's handsome, which I don't like. I'm not happy about it.
I don't know. I like it. I still think the guy's hilarious. I can't help it. But while he's sitting there with the Iraqi prime minister, he brought up Iraq's massive oil reserves in the Oval Office. This is as the Iran conflict is escalating. And as we have an energy crunch, if you will, the price of oil is going up. Everybody knows it. Gas prices will be affected. Everybody knows it. Oh, but to tell us America's energy independent, yes, oil is traded on a global market. It sucks. It is what it is. But President Trump looks to be relieving some of that by bringing up the massive oil reserves that Iraq has.
A little bit with you, but they have tremendous oil reserves. They have tremendous potential wealth, and they have tremendous wealth, not only potential. But he's done in a short period of time, he's changed that country so much, especially toward their thinking about the United States. And we have partnerships. Chris was just saying we have tremendous oil partnerships all of a sudden being formed over the last short period of time, and I guess you're going to be announcing them this week or next week, but massive, among the largest. So they have done a fantastic job over the last very short period of time, but they have a great leader, the new prime minister. He's a great leader. I think he's going to be there for a long period of time, and it's great to have you at the White House. Thank you very much.
So he was in the White House yesterday, but the topic of conversation quickly moved to Iran. As you would expect, the press is in the room. President Trump doesn't shy away from questions. The naval blockade is back on the menu, boys. I don't know if you knew that. And President Trump had floated the idea of the United States charging a toll for safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Gulf allies have pushed back against that, and they came up with a bit of a different plan.
Different people, different countries, kings and emirs and all of the people that we all know and we all love, and they've been very strong partners. And they said, we'd love to do it a different way. We'd love to invest in the United States with billions and billions of dollars and continue our record setting, because there's never been a time like this with the United States, with the factories, with the plants, with everything else. And we would like to invest tremendously in the United States as opposed to charging a fee. And I like that, actually, because I don't think anybody should be able to charge a fee for the strait or for any other strait relationship in terms of other sections of the world. I don't think anybody should be really in that position. But we were doing it as a reimbursement. The Gulf states are going to invest a tremendous amount of money into the United States, and that was very satisfactory to me. I think it's actually much better.
So no tolls, but there will be a bit of a reimbursement in the forms of investment. Will that mean the price of oil will come back down? Your guess is as good as mine. It's 11:21. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at United Structural Systems. It has been a wet month so far. And if you got some waterproofing issues at your home, water's getting into your crawl space or into your basement, you have felt this month more than anyone else. Well, let me tell you something. Don't let that waterproofing issue become a foundation issue. Call the experts at USS today. You can trust United Structural Systems to fix all of your waterproofing needs. They have been doing business the right way since 1994 right here in Tennessee. And it's because of their approach. No scare tactics, no quick fixes, no sales guy showing up to your house worried about a quota. Just real pros, real inspections, honest answers, and solutions that are built to last. So whether it's waterproofing or foundation repair or crawl space issues, USS is going to use engineered systems designed for long-term performance, not just temporary patches. And here's what stands out. If you don't need the work, they tell you don't need the work. If you do, they'll explain what they're going to do before they ever get started. Right now, you can get a 10% discount when you pay in full, or you can fix it now and pay it later with 18 months and no payment, no interest. Or choose the 36 months, no interest with low payment option for qualified homeowners. Give my guys at USS a call today, 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
We're learning more about that parasite causing explosive diarrhea and what it's doing here in Nashville. I've got the latest at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Fear not, Ken. I've heard we got it on the runs. You know, we were out in front of that story first, by the way. People don't think it be like it is, but it do.
It do.
So
what show am I a part of here?
What do you mean? It's hard-hitting news. We covered that by accident. I was laughing with my wife. She's like, how did you cover that by accident? I was like, well, you see, I was looking for the details on Mitch McConnell's Chinese wife's sister, Tesla, backing up into a lake. And my wife just looked at me with a blank expression, and she was like, I don't know I still don't know how you got there, but I don't want to hear anymore. And I said, well, you see, Virginia, it was the trending articles on the side of AP.
Yeah.
On the Associated Press. And so then we ran full steam ahead with the diarrhea story. And this was like last week. And I'm shocked that this story is still everywhere.
It just gives me a chance to say gross things.
Sam sent me a meme, and it was like, the good news is you didn't test positive for the diarrhea outbreak.
Yeah.
The bad news is your diarrhea is so explosive that you thought you needed to take a test for that diarrhea. Either way you slice it, you still have diarrhea.
Either way.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I'm seeing people on social media like they're getting ready to buy prepared salads, bagged salads, and then they're just shaking their head and putting it back.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you can't afford Ozempic, this is the next best thing. It doesn't need a prescription. You don't need to speak with a doctor. But ask your provider if diarrhea is right for you.
Dude, you could probably erase 10 pounds in 2 days.
100%. Like, yeah, it's going to be painful, but everything worthwhile is. So
no pain, no gain.
I just think it's hilarious that Taco Bell is like, don't worry, folks, we're removing the lettuce and the tomatoes. And it's like, you think that that's going to stop the diarrhea from Taco Bell? Does anybody honestly believe that that's going to be the end-all, be-all? Like, all right, Taco Bell's safe again from diarrhea? I don't know. I don't think so. It's part and parcel for the course here. Well, Ken's got the headlines on the way in 30 seconds. We're also gearing up for one heck of a lightning round. A lot of people have been chiming in on the Monty Fritts interview earlier in the show. If you missed our interview with Monty Fritts, it was pretty in-depth. We went through the debates. We went through the PAC money. We went through medical marijuana. Flock cameras were a topic of conversation. The Second Amendment. We really ran through the whole thing. And we approached the interview as if you had never heard from Monty Fritts before. That interview has been podcasted on Apple and Spotify, and we're going to isolate it for you so that way it's on YouTube. Because I do think that there's something to be said about that, where you can watch the would-be governor's reactions in real time to the questions. Body language tells a whole story. Maybe you don't have time. Maybe you just want to listen to it while you're on the lawnmower. I get that too. But we'll isolate it so that way you can find it very, very easily on our YouTube channel. Should you want to watch it or share it with a friend, search 99.7 WTN on YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe right now. The headlines with Ken Weaver.
Pop-up showers and thunderstorms right now. Got them in the south middle Tennessee. Got one right by Murfreesboro. McMinnville's getting some of the heaviest of it right now. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Metro Nashville health officials say fewer than 10 cases of this parasite causing explosive diarrhea, cyclosporiasis, have been confirmed here in Davidson County as the nationwide outbreak continues. Tennessee's among 34 states reporting cases, but health officials say there's no evidence of a local outbreak here in Nashville, but there might be in other states. ABC's Stephanie Ramos reports.
State health officials say there have been more than 600 new cases of cyclosporiasis in Michigan alone. Health officials now pointing to lettuce as a possible source of the outbreak in that state. The CDC confirming cases in 34 states, warning that cases in Michigan, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio seem to have a similar source.
Yeah, experts recommend thoroughly washing fresh fruits and vegetables to reduce the risk of infection. In our nation's capital, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer says the Epstein investigation continues today with former White House counsel and Goldman Sachs attorney Catherine Rumler.
Tens of thousands of dollars worth of gifts from Epstein. They communicated as if they were extremely close. And again, she's a very powerful person that was probably more involved in working with him to rehabilitate his image.
Facing lawmakers for his confirmation hearing for Attorney General today, nominee Todd Blanche delivered his opening remarks highlighting what he describes as major improvement in public safety during his time as deputy and acting AG.
I'm proud of what we've done to help American families see safer streets,
and to have a fair shot at the life they're working to build.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And Busy Bee is buzzing with some of the sweetest deals of the season. Did you catch that? That was a bee pun and a honey pun at the exact same time. I do what I can. People don't think it be like it is, but it do. Well, right now, if you need a new HVAC system, you can purchase a select high-efficiency unit and get a free air duct fogging and a UV light home treatment to keep your home's air so fresh and so clean. Maybe you're good on the AC, but you got some plumbing projects. Well, you can save $800 on a whole home water and drain line replacement today. And here's some neighborly love. You join the Busy Bee Beehive Club, and you'll get one free yearly Beehive membership to give to somebody in your neighborhood. Maybe you got to grease the wheels with the HOA president. Maybe you got a neighbor that you just love and you want to take care of. Either way, Busy Bee has you covered. And if you need financing, qualified buyers will get 0% financing for 18 months. Call 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, or find them online at busybeehvac.com. 37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, you get those at betterwater.com. You can join the show any way you'd like. 615-737-9986. You can call in, you can text in. You can jump inside the most unhinged chat on the internet. That's over on our YouTube page. We say that with love. We say that with love. It's like they're like family. Everybody has that unhinged family member. I might be that unhinged family member. I am that unhinged family member, aren't I?
That's you, bud.
I was trying to think of who it would be in my family, and I literally drew a blank.
Hey, bud.
That means it's me, doesn't it?
It does mean it's you.
Well, I don't care. I'll be that.
It's like in your neighborhood when you're always like, there's always that one weird neighbor, the naked neighbor or whatever. And it's like, wait, am I the weird neighbor?
Why are you naked in your neighborhood?
I'm not. I'm saying there always is one. We have one down the road. He's 3 houses down from us.
He's always naked?
He leaves his upper window open, and it is an awkward conversation with some of the families in the neighborhood.
So you're just seeing the bottom half?
No, we're seeing torso and then sometimes lower, like, hip.
Ugh.
That would imply that there is nothing else on.
I don't want to see any gentleman's hips.
I don't.
This is a hip-free zone, actually.
Not a fan.
Not a fan at all. No, well, I'm definitely not that neighbor.
Good.
Definitely not.
But you are the unhinged family member.
Would much rather be the unhinged family member.
Most people, I think, would.
I have been the unhinged family member, but here's the thing. I've also been right a lot. So, you know what I mean? And so it's like, Chris is saying something crazy again. Do we take it with a grain of salt or do we just believe him this time? It's a double-edged sword. This is my burden to carry. It's fine. It's fine.
Willingly you do it.
I do it. Hey, you know what time it is?
I think I do.
Time for the lightning round. That's when you hit the music.
I was going to hit the curb, but anyways.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
And Mason wasn't ready for the big old fun song, yeah. But we got it on now. So we're gonna run through a couple of stories that we thought were cool. That's good. I like lightning time. I hope everybody knows I'm freestyling every day. It's just what comes off the top. Sometimes it rhymes, sometimes it don't. People don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. Did you notice I dropped that in the Busy Bee ad earlier?
I did. Did you see me shaking my head?
Sometimes I have to make things fun for me too. All right? It's not like I do a lot for this audience. Some things I have to do for me. Sometimes I got to look out for Chris. So we got some stories. You ready for some stories? In the lightning round, story number 1. Do you remember we detailed that lovely, just simply fantastic police officer in Fort Worth, Texas, who had an issue with a street preacher offending people with the message of Christianity? You remember this?
Street here. Yes. Okay. Okay. So if we preach in here, we're going to be arrested for trespassing and convict later. Yes, sir. Okay. That's all we need. All right. Be offensive. That's the standards.
No, I mean it can be loud. It can be what you're saying. It can be all kinds of different things. But we got multiple complaints about the volume and being in people's ears.
But he wasn't in his ears. We were in front of a truck. We were in back of a truck, behind the truck.
And you'll have your day in court. You can argue it out.
Yeah.
So it all started with a lovely female officer who threatened arrest. Well, Assistant Attorney General, this is an update. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon has just sent a notice to Fort Worth, Texas, warning of formal action after local police officers were spotted threatening a Christian preacher with legal consequences simply over free speech because it offended people. And to that, my friends, we say good. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Got another story for you here inside the lightning round.
Another one.
So we talked a lot about flock cameras today. We talked with Monty Fritts about flock cameras. We talked with congressional candidate for the 6th District, John Henry, about flock cameras. And now there's been a man in court who was told he got brought to court, and they were like, "Please, sir, stop vandalizing flock cameras." And he said, "You know what? I hear you, but I'm still going to vandalize flock cameras." And I love the dedication. I can't advocate for the destruction of private property here, but I will respect somebody's spirit. And this guy, he's got a lot of spirit.
Bizarre scene in court today. A judge says she will issue an arrest warrant for the man accused of vandalizing license plate readers in Rio Rancho, but he says he has no intention to stop his actions.
Do you have plans to continue to take down these flock cameras?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. They are a clear and present threat to public safety.
44-year-old Javon Martinez is facing larceny, property damage, and tampering with evidence charges after police say he destroyed 3 flock cameras, costing Rio Rancho thousands of dollars in damage. They say he replaced the cameras with the sign saying, "You're welcome, Republic of New Mexico."
So he took out the camera and he left the sign that said "You're welcome," and he also stuck an American flag in it. I can't advocate for the destruction of public property, private property, or public property. I'm not going to advocate for the destruction of property. But putting a sign that says "You're welcome" is hilarious.
That is good.
I think we can agree.
Martinez showed up to court today, but he refused to identify himself during the proceedings. The judge considered that as a failing to appear in court, but Martinez claims he exercised his right to remain silent.
No, I can't. You call me, but I am here. I'm right here. I stood up. I walked up there. She wanted my name, but I have a right to not bear testimony against myself. Giving my name consults as testimony, and so I just chose to remain silent.
The judge said she would issue an arrest warrant for Martinez for failure to appear. As of this afternoon, it has yet to be filed. After the hearing, Martinez filed affidavits from witnesses saying he did show up for the hearing.
I don't know. I like Vic. I'm not mad at Vic. Is Vic a little unhinged? I think Vic is the unhinged family member at his Thanksgiving table as well.
He's the unhinged at his family table, his extended family table, his third cousin's family table.
Okay, but is Vic wrong when it comes to the flock cameras?
I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying? This is the thing about being the unhinged family member. Sometimes you do unhinged things. But the message he's trying to get across isn't wrong. Is it wrong to destroy private property? Sure. We can all agree on that. We're all adults. But I think it's important to talk about where this could go. And it's not just going after criminals. And I think this is related, but it's also another story in the lightning round. In the city of Sacramento, California, do you know what they just hired? They just hired a team of inspectors, okay? And do you know what the inspectors will be inspecting? Your trash. And they hired these inspectors to make sure your trash is in compliance with state law. So the city of Sacramento is sending crews across the city to track and check that residents are sorting their trash properly, okay? Follow me on this. Listen to this story.
Before you roll out your bins, just know your garbage, mixed recycling, and organic waste containers could be inspected.
Yeah, we won't be touching any of the contents, just giving a visual.
The city of Sacramento will have crews checking containers across the city to track if residents are sorting properly.
We conducted the same reviews last June, and we found high contamination levels of, issues like plastic bags in the recycling, garbage in the organics.
Jessa David says it's to be in compliance with SB 1383, a state law that requires local jurisdictions to make efforts to reduce methane emissions, specifically caused by organic waste ending up in landfills. But residents won't face any fines, just feedback.
No fines yet, but you know where this is going, right? It will eventually go to fines. And this is something that these blue states have been doing for years. So my dad, this is the craziest thing. When I worked in radio in Boston, we had an opportunity to go to a bowling event with the championship Red Sox at the time. Okay, this is where I get this from. My dad was very upset because the city that he lived in at that time in Massachusetts had just issued a new thing where they were saying, we're not going to pick up your trash if you're not recycling. So, like, we're just not going to pick up your trash unless there's a recycling bin out there full with stuff. And he's like, well, what if I don't have anything to recycle? They're like, we're not going to pick up your trash. And he's like, well, that's BS. So he's very upset about it. So we went to a celebrity bowling event with the Red Sox, who had just won a championship. Terry Francona was the manager. And our bowling alley was right next to Terry Francona and Curt Schilling. And I kid you not, my dad had an opportunity to speak with he's a lifelong Red Sox fan. He had the opportunity to speak with the championship manager, right? Their second World Series since the longest drought ever. And he chose to use that time to bitch about the recycling policy in Massachusetts. It was the funniest thing. It's just like, this is where I get it from. But when you look at stuff like this, they're going to send crews out to inspect your trash. Now, game plan that out to what happens when there are flock cameras in the neighborhood. And they're now using artificial intelligence to determine if you're doing things correctly. It's not a stretch, my guys. And once these cameras are up, then they'll be able to institute these policies. I'm very against flock cameras. Very much against it. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. It's the other button, Mason. You all right?
Give me a break.
All right, sorry. I thought we would do some good news.
I'm in danger.
No, you're not in danger. You're not. There's no danger here. But I thought we would do some good news. You want to do some good news?
I love good news.
We don't do it enough. Actually, before we get to good news, I have some bad news. So
I knew it.
Next story in the lightning round. We'll get to the good news, I promise. Remember when I had my anti-zoo stance?
Yeah.
And I actually went on record with a pro-aquarium stance.
True.
I have adopted an anti-aquarium stance.
Uh-oh.
And it's all SeaWorld's fault. Because they had rapper E40 at SeaWorld. And I can't. I'm out on aquariums now. I'm out.
What did E40 do to you?
E40 turned the San Diego SeaWorld into a twerking theme park in a matter of minutes. There was too much twerking.
No!
I'm telling you, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you're going to see just an obscene amount of twerk. That's an E40 concert at SeaWorld. What does this have to do with dolphins? I don't know. Why is there a 70-year-old man twerking? I also don't know. But it happened. And because of that, I'm officially out on aquariums. Only in California.
Yeah, makes sense.
I didn't know E40 could pack a stadium still.
A SeaWorld stadium.
A SeaWorld stadium. What do you think the Dolphins thought? Don't they hear through like vibrations and all that?
Yeah.
It's probably very painful.
Not fans.
I thought that they were supposed to care for these animals. All these people worried about data centers. What about E40?
There's a reason they do drugs.
Yeah, dude, that's been confirmed. Somebody sent me an article. They're like, you were right. You were right about dolphins and pufferfish. I was like, I know. They do drugs and they rape.
Yep.
But people are worried about data centers, but they're not worried about E40. And I think that we needed to have just as much of our guard up. I do.
I agree.
Thank you. All right, time for good news in the lightning round. We don't do enough good news on the radio station. We don't. But this one's pretty cool. 76-year-old woman saved at 5 o'clock in the morning by a 17-year-old boy in Alabama. Listen to this.
An unlikely pair, 76-year-old Fanny Garner and 17-year-old Johnson Thompson, brought together by what they call divine intervention.
Well, nothing but God. It had to be, because I don't remember it. And I got there, and I got there safe.
On June 30th, Thompson couldn't sleep and went to work late in his family's workshop on South Dixon Street. He'd been having trouble sleeping after he flipped his lawnmower and hurt himself a week earlier. He was working when he saw a car slowly pull over across the street just before 5 a.m.
She parked across the street in a parking lot
she got out of her car and she was stumbling around. So I went out the end of our parking lot to check on her and see if she was okay. And that's when she explained to me that she had a terrible headache and was wanting to know where the nearest emergency room was.
Garner drove from Cherokee to Tuscumbia, around 20 miles, though she doesn't remember much. Johnson got her a chair and called 911, waiting with her until an ambulance came. She learned at the hospital she had a brain bleed.
Angel. Hero.
Garner's family tracked Thompson down to thank him the following day.
I just felt like, relieved, and that so thankful for humanity that someone would, pay attention.
And
I love it. Yeah, you got to be thankful for humanity every now and again. It's not all dark and dystopian and full of pessimism and blackpilling. And you're going to be like, well, Chris, that's only one story. Well, I have another story in the lightning round for you. You ready? This one, well, that kid was 17. He's basically an adult. Of course, he's going to do the right thing at 5 in the morning. Name a 17-year-old you know that's up at 5 in the morning, for starters.
Can't.
But here's another one. This is also good news. And it absolutely dunks on the 17-year-old. You ready? This kid is 13, and he saves an elderly woman with dementia in the middle of the day in Arizona. And I don't know if you know this about Arizona. Incredibly hot.
There are moments in life that reveal who we are. For 14-year-old Royal Cothran, it happened on a bike ride in Gilbert back in June.
Yeah, I could look it up on my phone if you want me to.
With temperatures soaring above 100 degrees, he came across a woman who was lost, confused, and struggling in the heat. And without hesitation, he stopped.
I don't even know. She just looked like something was wrong, so I started talking to her.
That woman was Teresa Morgan, a beloved mother recently diagnosed with dementia. After becoming disoriented, she unknowingly wandered miles from home after visiting a nearby grocery store. And Royal became the lifeline she didn't know she needed.
She is incredibly lucky. That elderly woman could have absolutely died in the Arizona heat if it wasn't for that 14-year-old boy. And so it's just another little bit of good news for you. God's moving. There are people out there that are doing the right thing. So don't be too black-pilled on society. It's 11:55. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I got to tell you about my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. There's a lot of good people in the world. There's a lot of bad people in the world, and you got to be acknowledging both. And if you have valuable things at your home, you're going to want to protect them. Maybe you got firearms, maybe it's jewelry, some old coins, some precious metals. Well, what are you putting them in? Where are you storing them? If your answer isn't a quality safe from Parker Safe and Vaults in Shelbyville, you're doing it wrong. Now, Aaron will protect your belongings from fire or theft. A lot of people wish that they had a safe, but they didn't. Don't be one of those people. Make a call to Parker's today. They'll remedy the situation for you before it happens. Parker Safes and Vaults have been helping people protect what they treasure for close to 20 years. You make that call to Parker's, and the experts will help you choose the right safe for your needs and your budget, and they'll professionally deliver it and install it. Veteran-owned, family-run, Christian business, and they've been helping people just like you with their security and protection needs since 2009. Serious products, serious safes, serious protection. Brands like Liberty, American Security, Rhino, Heyman, Graf Under, and more. They specialize in the right safe for the right customer. Hundreds of 5-star reviews. These are the people you need to call in Middle Tennessee. Today is the day to make that call. 931-842-6445. That's 931-842-6445. Or find them online, parkersafes.com.